59,700 and I think 69 people we had in this.
Amazing, it was amazing.
On the 3rd of December.
Outside.
It's like nothing I've ever seen. I don't know if we'll ever see anything like it again. He is a one-off. He is, I think, unbeatable. We're soon going to find out, because I think now the plan is to move forward and set up a very, very big and interesting and exciting 2023.
Can't wait.
So we're all here. I'm sure everyone's got a lot of questions. Please feel free.
And there's no obstacle in the way of making it. No obstacle.
Questions?
Question?
Put your hand up.
Tyson, was it hard inflicting some of them late rounds on Dell? He's such a tough geezer. It was hard to watch some of it.
Yeah, listen, he's a tough old boy, Derek, and I've got to commend him. I've got to tip my hat to Derek Chisora, because he's an absolute warrior. And he took a lot of heavy punches. Maybe they left him in too long, but I was very happy when the referee stopped. He took enough, you know what I mean? He was tired and shipping a lot of heavy blows. We're not in there to do serious damage to a boxing match, and I was happy to see it finished. So yeah, big shout out to Derek Chisora as well.
Yo, check. The sun don't shine forever, but as long as it does, it might as well shine together. Business before pleasure, or you know, do it better.
We didn't get a song in the ring tonight. What's that?
I was overwhelmed. I couldn't think of the words. It was like 60,000 people in here in December, hard times, and a lot of people were saying, oh, the fight won't sell, yada yada yada, it's going to be a terrible fight, but it was far from a terrible fight, and guess what, it did sell. And 60,000 British fans screaming Tyson Fury's name and going off the trolley with that ring walk. What a ring walk. But I'd just like to say, while I got the opportunity and I'm thinking about it, a massive thanks to Frank Warren and Queensbury and Bob Arum for putting this show on and sticking to the word and delivering yet again. And Frank, I call him the magic man, and it's definitely true, isn't it? Because whoever can sell a stadium out in winter, in December, in the freezing cold, against an opponent that people said it's not worth watching, you know, deserves a blue peat match, in my opinion. If anyone's got one, please give it to Frank right now. So yeah, and he's just got out of surgery, and he's probably drugged up off his tits right now, just to be here. So I know how much pain you've been through, Frank, in the last few months. And I wish you a speedy recovery, and you're an absolute gentleman. And Bob.
You only have a magic moment, you've got a magic fighter, and that's what you are. It's unbelievable. When Bob been in the business longer than me, as long as I've been in this business, I have never been involved with a fighter with so much charisma, a fighter that has turned his life around. I mean, it is a movie script. He's got Netflix following him around at the moment, doing anything that seriously. And you look at all of what he's done. He's done that with support, obviously, with his family, friends, but he's just a one-off. I don't care what anybody says. He is, without a doubt, the most entertaining person in boxing since Muhammad Ali.
And
Without a doubt.
right, and remember, boxing is a form of show business, right? It's entertainment, entertaining the fans, and there's no fighter in the planet today who's as much a showman as Tyson Fury, and that's why 60,000 people will come out in the dead of winter to watch him fight. 95,000 will come out in the spring at Wembley to watch him fight, because he's a showman. He's a great fighter and a great champion, but above all of that, he's a showman.
So the big question, Frank, really, sorry. Did you want to add something?
Yeah, I was just going to say, you know, we talk about where we've got, where Tyson's done, where he's come from, and what he's done. At the end of the night, everybody stayed. They didn't all go home. They were there. They were listening to the stuff going on between Alexander Usyk and also Joyce. They stayed and they were happy and they were cheering. That's what happens tonight. And you got all this negativity that was surrounding the show, coming up to it, and some of these people were saying, you know, the tickets are not being sold. I don't know, what do they think these people got in here? You know, go and ask Ticketmaster. They're the people who are in charge of selling the tickets. They're the ones who've done the deal for the tickets. They sold them. It's phenomenal. You know, Bob's put on some of the biggest shows in boxing ever. And I've put on some big shows over here, and you know, it's a very big show. Nothing like this. There's never been a take-up like this. This is just amazing. And it's down to a man who's got the most unbelievable personality and all the other stuff I've said. Obviously the fans love him. This is a man who's had 3 books at #1, isn't it?
Yeah.
3 books at #1. To get the #1, someone's got to buy those books, and they've got to be interested in the person whose book they're buying. He's there. He's got this series going on now with Netflix. He's done the record for the charity, for mental health charity, and what he's done for mental health charity has been phenomenal. You know, British public love people who are men of the people, and he's a man of the people. He's been there, up, he's been down, he's clawed his way through his endeavours, back to the top, and he deserves to be. He's got a loving family, lovely kids, and a beautiful, lovely wife. You know, he's the luckiest man out there.
She's very blessed.
Tyson, you've refused all week to address.
I have. But now I'm ready to talk about
Okay,
it.
so you spoke to Joe Joyce, you spoke to Alexander Usyk in that corner in the triangle in the ring.
Yep.
The heads of your planning for
Yep.
2023 are up there with you. What are we going to see in 2023?
Well, we're going to see the biggest year of, hopefully, my career. 2023, we're going to get them big fights that the fans really crave. First of all, let's talk about Usyk, because now I can. Before, everyone once asked me a million questions about Usyk when I've got Chisora to beat. And as we see tonight, Chisora's no easy pushover for anybody. So yeah, I'm ready, I'm willing to take on Usyk next, whether it's going to be in Saudi Arabia or back here in the UK. It's both places will be fantastic. Let's give the fans one champion, one name, one face. Usyk's up for the challenge. He came over tonight, so fair play to him. He's not an easy boxer to figure out. He's a slick southpaw mover with very good skills, Olympic gold medalist, and he's coming on some good form, so I'm really looking forward to the challenge. But for whatever reason, like I say, a lot of big fights, and Bob's here, he's 125 years old, and he can tell you himself, sometimes the big fights sometimes don't happen for whatever reason. But I've got a good feeling this one's going to happen. But if it doesn't for X, Y or Z reasons, then we'll have Joe Joyce at Wembley next year as well. But providing the Usyk one does happen, then I'll do him and I'll have Joe Joyce as well at Wembley. Why not? You know.
And you've got to think about it, they're proper heavyweight fights.
Proper ones.
And more importantly, I think it'll be the biggest year ever for heavyweight boxing in this country.
For sure, and people have been asking me all night, like, who's a tougher fight, Usyk or Joyce? And in my opinion, Usyk's a slicker boxer, but Joe Joyce is a juggernaut. And I think that Joe gives me a tougher fight than Usyk, 100%. Big Joe, 6'7" and 19.5 stone, like a juggernaut coming forward at me, trying to smash me to pieces, or Usyk trying to steal a jab running around the ring, trying to make a point here and there. So I think that Usyk's a very good fighter. I'm not going to take anything away from him. He's the undisputed cruiserweight champion, and he's the unified heavyweight champion. So he's had a fantastic career. But I think that I'll do a job on him. I can't just think it. I don't just want to talk it. I want to prove it. So let's get that one on. But like I say, I do think the biggest challenge out there for me is Joe Joyce, the juggernaut. And I mention him a lot because I'm very impressed with where he's been and where he's come from. The guy should be Olympic gold medalist. He got ripped off in the final, in my opinion, and he's done everything asked of him. He's beat Brian Jennings, a world-class fighter, Daniel Dubois, a world-class fighter, and my good friend Joe Parker, another world-class fighter. So he's mandatory ready. And like I say, if Usyk can't be made, then we'll do the juggernaut, and we'll give him a clash of titans for sure.
You haven't talked about needing a couple of surgeries though, Tyson. Do you think you'll be sidelined for a little while now?
We'll see. We'll see. I'm not a doctor. I don't know, but from where I am now, I feel great. You know what I mean? I hope that I don't have anything to mess up anything. But yeah, looking forward to a massive 23 starting. I hear all this talk of big money in Saudi Arabia. I even spoke to Prince Khalid. He might even be here somewhere. I don't know where he is. Before he was on his way into Chisora's dressing room to see him, and I said, "Are you going to put this fight in?" He said, "What am I here for?" So if it's as good as his word, looks like we're getting it on. Frank and Bob have been telling me it might be the first quarter of next year, end of February, early March. Yeah, so let's do it. I'm willing. Usyk looks like he's willing. Bob, Frank, their peoples are willing. So let's get it on like Donkey Kong.
Tyson, you've had to stand by your side all week and your family, away from the cameras and all the praise and everything. It's so important to share these moments, and you'll be able to look back in 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
I had you right by my side. Just a word to them, because I know it's, you know, special to you.
Yeah, I've had the kids here for the first time. I think they've been to one other fight, the comeback Safa, but it's not really boxing, professional boxing. It's not really a place for kids, in my opinion. And since they've got a little bit older, my daughter's 13 and Prince is 11, and I'm coming to the end of my career. Whatever I've got left, 2-3 fights left, I wanted them to experience it as well. So it's been good. It's been good to have him in the camp.
Tyson, what was it like fighting in that freezing cold?
To be honest, it was, while I was walking, I was thinking, fuck me, this is cold. And then when I was in the ring, it was freezing. But then when I got fighting a few rounds in, you don't really feel the cold, the adrenaline's pumping, and it was, I didn't feel cold. There was a little bit where I was like, oh, it's cold there, I can freeze it. But apart from that, it was all good. Any more questions?
Tyson, what did you see when you looked into Usyk's eye when he was staring at you in the ring?
I didn't see nothing apart from a huggy little man. And that's what I seen. But good looks don't win world titles today. Because if it was about good looks, then I'd never have won anything, because I'm fat as a pig, aren't I? Bald head, lanky, clumsy. Whatever people have called me over the years, 99% of it's all true, isn't it? But it's not looks that win fights. It's the inside of a man that wins a fight. Rocky Marciano wasn't a big man, but he's world heavyweight champion. Tommy Burns was 5'7", still world heavyweight champion, knocked out Jess Willen 6'6". So it's not about the size of the man, it's the fight, the size of the fight in the man. And we'll see. We'll see.
But what do you say when likes of Franks and people think you're unbeatable?
Listen, we're only blood and bone. I'm only here for the grace of God, and I've trained hard and I dedicate myself to this game. I only started taking this game serious when I got to about 30. Before then, it was all fun and games. It was just like I was able to box people and beat them with natural ability. But now I've got Sugar Hill with me, and I've got my nutrition team, strength conditioning guys. I think we're moving on to the next level, and the 10 rounds that I got tonight were very, very valuable to me to take me into the next year for sure.
Tyson, you said maybe only 2 or 3 more fights, but we're talking to them earlier.
Well, hold on a minute, Carol.
Sorry.
Can you finish your question?
I apologise.
You're jumping in the queue, Mosh.
Sorry, mate.
Just listen to you talk, you seem like a real hunter into Sahara back.
Yeah.
2023 mass, biggest year of career and stuff.
Don't forget, I retired back in April, and I really meant it hand on heart. Frank was trying to come to me with exhibition fights, and I just said I don't want to box anymore. And I had 4 months of that, living at home with Paris and the kids and the dog and all that sort of stuff, the normal family life. And I suppose when you've been in the spotlight like I have, and been heavyweight champion for so long, and been boxing your whole life nearly, it's very difficult to live a normal life. And I always said, oh, I just want to live a normal life, just leave me alone in Morecambe Bay, driving me off the sat round. But when I think about it, I'm anything but normal. I'm an abnormal load. So I have to, this is what I do. This is who I am. And this is what has defined me as a person. And if it wasn't, then I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be winning fights. I wouldn't have won 34 fights in a row, 24 knockouts. Get up. And there we are. I'm an entertainer. It's what I love. My dad had a good point recently. He said Tyson is like Frankenstein's monster. He thrives on energy of the crowd and the people. A bit like the old gladiators from the Roman theatres and stuff to the crowd. That's me. I come alive and I sap it all up like a sponge. And it makes me feel like I want to be alive. I love this. I'm living on the edge of my seat. It's the only thing that I can do that gives me happiness, sadness, scared, nerves. And I said to the boys, like, in the changing room, I really, really love where I am. Like, this is my comfort zone. I'm like, what? Big 60,000 people screaming your name and you got to go fight one-on-one with somebody. I said, yes, that's where I thrive. That's my life. That's what I live for. But at 34, and my cousin Caesar said, you're only in your prime. I think he's right. I'm getting better with age, like a fine wine. But we'll see. We'll see. One fight at a time. And that's all we can do. One fight at a time.
Tyson, this is Kieran Wright from the NY Press. My question is, you're talking about Usyk and you're talking about Joe Joyce, etc. What's your opinion about Anthony Joshua, and also maybe fighting him?
Nita. Zero. Not happening. I want to fight real challengers and real men who want to fight. Usyk come here tonight to do a fight, ringside, stood there, got in my face, he wants to fight. Of all the years, we live in the same country. Has anyone ever seen AJ do that to me? Get in your face at a fight and say, let's get it on like Donkey Kong? No.
We wasted 6 weeks on that.
And even Big Joe thought he was going to join the party. Well, he get up, Big Joe. He joined the gate, crashed that party. He went, I want a piece of this. I said, right, let's just have a Royal Rumble then.
Tyson, of all these insults we've heard you sling around over the years, I think Rabbit is a new one. Why has Usyk got that one tonight?
I don't know, he just looks like a rabbit, doesn't he? He's got 2 eyes that are a bit far apart, facing opposite ways. He's got a big gap in his teeth like a rabbit, so without disrespecting him, he is a hungry little chappy, isn't he? And he looks like a rabbit. So I think my dad nicknamed him the rabbit, and and I'd nickname myself the farmer. And the farmer will skin the rabbit, put him in a rabbit pie and eat him up for breakfast. And that's what we're going to do with him.
Tyson,
In the past, you've labelled Usyk a middleweight, but overall, where would you rank him in the current middleweight division right now?
Well, there is merit to this middleweight talk. When he was an amateur, when I was a super heavyweight, when I was about 17, 18, he was boxing at 75 kilos. And that's when he lost to Sean Porter as an amateur, 75 kilos. So it ain't just me saying, oh, he's a small man, he's a middleweight. There is merit to the middleweight talk. So he has boxed at middleweight as an amateur. I've never boxed at anything but super heavyweight. So I can actually say that. So yeah, there is talk of it.
Where would you rank him in the heavyweight division right now?
I think he's a toss-up between number 2 and number 3. Listen, you can never write off Deontay Wilder, so you can put 1, me, and then you can put the next 3 in a hat and pick them. Usyk, Joyce, Wilder. But I don't think there's anybody in the world that can take Deontay Wilder's power. No one. Usyk's a slick boxer, southpaw, and Joe Joyce is a juggernaut, and that's the fight I'd love to see. If I fight Usyk, then maybe Joe can fight Wilder. Who here wouldn't want to see that? We wouldn't want to see the world's toughest man take on the world's biggest puncher. That'd be fantastic.
Tyson, you spoke about how hard it was for you to walk away when you had time at home. Obviously, you're friends with Derek. Would you like to see him hang his gloves up now after the long career he's had, and how hard will that be for him to do?
I know where Derek's coming from right now, and I can't speak for any other man. I can't make decisions for anybody. Derek will have to make his own decisions, and he's been in this game long enough. He's a veteran, and he will make the right decisions, best for him and his family. But for me, I'd love to see him retire, but still stay in sport, because he's a legend of this game in British boxing. He's like a folk hero. People love him, and who wouldn't want to tune into Derek's fights? Always entertaining, always gives his all, and he's definitely a good fighting man for sure.
Tyson,
Been around so long.
Tyson, do you think that if you do fight Usyk, it will be for Undisputed, including the IBF?
I'm not a boxing promoter, so I can't answer that question. But there is 2 promoters up here, maybe they can answer that.
It's obviously a big 4 belts. I mean, I know there's Hearn's telling everybody at 1, but that's not his decision. And the fact of the matter is, the rotation of these belts anyway are it's fact, the next one up for mandatory is the WBA. And WBA had no problem in allowing a unification to take place for the boxing. Who wouldn't do that? So that's where we are. And all the other talk is, it's the same old thing, like most sell tickets, no one watches it, no one, most of the stuff he said is a bit like, he's picking, when he picks people in fights,